Hi, this is Shaka Hislop, and you're watching Extra Time TV.
So we are out, officially out now. We had a glimmer of hope. We even got our chances. This is probably arguably one of the, in my words, the weakest hex groups I've ever seen, with the US still far from confirmed in the next round. What now for Trinidad and Tobago? Where do we go?
What now? I think we have to plan better for the long term. I've been saying that for quite some time. There seems to be a focus on the next cycle and only 4 years, and I never felt that was probably the approach. Also, over the last couple of years, ever since David John Williams came into charge, I think there have been too many changes in him trying to get not just the administrative side of the game to his liking, but more to the point, coaching staff and the direction of the playing to what he would like. Now, whereas maybe that were all well and good when you're in charge of W Connection, I think that kind of wholesale change without, in my opinion, full and proper justification, I think kind of unsettle the team. They, and as a result, the game results speak for themselves. At the same time, I think you're absolutely right in saying that it's not a particularly strong hex. I think Mexico are better than maybe they have been. Well, certainly results suggest as much. Costa Rica are strong. Well, the results there are strong, though I don't think as good a Costa Rica team as it is. I don't think that they're as good as they were 4 years ago. I think absolutely the same. You could say the same about Honduras. I think Panama are slightly stronger than they have been in previous cycles. And without question, this is the worst US team, as I've been seeing in the Espnfc. This is the worst US team I've seen in some 20 years. So for us to be out this early, again, is the only way I can phrase it as deeply disappointing.
Yeah, because we were given the chances. We had multiple occasions to really get that result, and unfortunately, we didn't take it. The next thing that really comes to everybody's mind is just building on what we just said. Dennis Lawrence is the current coach. He had a couple of games. The record is not flattering. I mean, if you look at the games, the team, you saw improvement, and just to echo the instability. Do you think Dennis Lawrence should be given a chance to continue his work?
Yes, I do. I think we need to have some kind of stability. We need to have faith in the coach and the direction, and that needed to be a part of the interview process and bringing in a new coach. I'm not sure that it was followed or it was sound feet, but I certainly knowing Dennis Lawrence, and I always place this caveat here, I am biased when it comes to Dennis Lawrence because I know him, I consider him a friend, but I also think he's not only was a good defender, but I think he has an incredible game intellect, and his experience I think will allow him to bring over his ideas. But at the same time, and I have to say this, and I keep seeing this time and time again, for a country like Trinidad and Tobago, for a country as small as Trinidad and Tobago, for us to qualify, a lot has to go right. Everything has to go right. Now, a lot of those things are out of our control. Sometimes you're asking the best of Lady Luck, and at times Lady Luck did shine on us, and at times not. But a lot of those things are in our control, and I don't think we've done a good job of managing that. When there's still reports in the media that players have not been paid for games that they played 6 months ago, that is no way to be approaching, that is no way to be standing in a hex. And again, and you talk about qualifying for the World Cup 2018. If you look at this process going as far back as not the last Gold Cup, but the Gold Cup of 2 seasons of the last cycle, where we did so well and the 4-4 draw in Mexico in the group stage, and then I just feel that in the knockout stages of the competition, it became a little bit too much for our smaller squad. That was the best football our team was playing. Yeah. I remember having discussions with Coach Stephen Hart, another coach who I think very highly of, and I feel was harshly treated. But I remember speaking with Stephen Hart just after that. As I spoke with him just after the game, the game against the US that I mentioned in Trinidad and Tobago, where staff hadn't been paid for some 9 months. and it was starting to bear on not just him, but more importantly his backroom staff, and inevitably the playing staff. And then all of a sudden he's left out in the cold. He's replaced without good reason, in my opinion. And you have all these underlying issues behind our football. Now, those are things that are within our control. Those are things that we need to be doing better. Those are the things that Leo Banaka simply would not stand for and did not allow, and why we qualified. I know I'm going on a bit of a rant here, but if you look at that team in 2006, I think the team was actually better 4 years ago. In 2006, we qualified when we qualified in November 2005. Albeit I was 2005. I was 36 years old. Albeit Kelvin Jack was the starting goalkeeper at the time. But you had Dwight York, who would have been 4 years younger in 2002. Russell Latapy would have been 4 years younger and more to speak. Come 2005, you had Dwight would have been 34. Russell is a few months older than I am. Yet still Leo Banaka was able to take that team that was, in my opinion, probably four years, where the key players were 4 years beyond their best. Take that team to the World Cup. Now, if you look back at 2002, and you wonder why that team didn't qualify, you had Porterfield. I remember very early on in the campaign, we had our win bonus clause started very low, and it was for each game that we won in succession, it would double or something of the sort. And we went on this ridiculous winning streak. And then all of a sudden, we were in Mexico to play Mexico. I think this might have been in the preliminary rounds. I mean, it was very early on in the hex. I need to look back. And Porterfield calls everybody and says, well, the association can't afford that, and almost accused us of being greedy for demanding as much. Now, right there, I felt he lost the dressing room, because he wasn't going to bat for us. He wasn't in our corner. He was, in my opinion, and given the tone of that meeting, against us. And all of a sudden, he lost the dressing room, and a team that was probably arguably the best, at the very least since '89, just crumbled in the hex. 4 years later, you have a coach in Leo Banaka who stood for the players, who stood his ground, and he was able to take that same team that was 4 years older, 4 years past their best, or the key players 4 years past their best, and take them to qualify. Those are the things that we can control. Those are the things that I think we lost with the ridiculous firing of Stephen Hart, with the ridiculous appointment of Saintfiet. Those are the things that qualifying for a country like Trinidad Tobago simply cannot afford to do. The Mexicans could afford to do it. The Americans could afford to do it. Costa Rica could afford to do it. We can't.
Yep, it's what you're saying is there's a direct correlation between the administrative affairs, which we all know, and the performance of the team.
Yes, without question. Too many times in the past, and we see this, and it seems as though the administrative affair or affairs are based on the on-field results, and I think that's putting the cart before the horse. I think the administration dictates how successful we will be, again, because regardless of playing personnel, when you have a country as small as ours, when you have a player pool as small as ours, everything needs to go right. You need to be lucky. So those things are out of your control. But there are a lot of things that are well within your control that I think we neglect and leave to the players to figure out during the course of 90 minutes.
Okay guys, so that wraps things up of this episode of Extra Time TV. Be sure to tune in next time and like and subscribe. Check us out below.